I'll try and make a start as quickly as we can, because I know that the next two speakers have very interesting things to say, but also come from the same topics, but from very different angles. One being a more regulatory position, and the other as a researcher, which don't necessarily always see the world in the same light, or at least they're coming at the world from different angles. Both are from Bank Indonesia. I'm not going to do a lengthy introduction to each speaker, because you've all got in front of you the bio of everyone. But what I do want to illuminate as we lead into our esteemed speakers is for you to think about the issue, to remember that in the Bank Indonesia has been over the last more than a decade been actively involved in trying to promote, regulate and understand Islamic banking in Indonesia, which also has both a formal and an informal sector to it. The formal and informal sector don't necessarily automatically cohere, and part of the issues and difficulties that you'll be discussing and hearing about today will be to think through how you understand and regulate such a large market and also a very diverse market. And when I say diverse, I mean a market which has a regulated industry, a banking industry sort of, let's say, above the water, and a massive microcosm of marine biology below the surface. Simpat pinjam, or the organized finance, but at a very localized level. So these two speakers are going to deal with a lot of these issues, a lot of the complexity within the Indonesian market. And I move firstly to, let's see who's the first speaker. Firstly, I'll speak to Dr. Ascarya. Ascarya.
Okay.
We've got 20 minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma sholli Muhammad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you for inviting us here, Dr. Clemens and all the organizers. Our topic this morning is on holistic financial inclusion based on Maqasid Sharia through Baitul Mal wa Tamwil. You know that microfinance has been revolutionized from the social to commercial, from the informal into formal. So there are some mission drift, there are some shift in objectives, and also there are many things that happens that transform the microfinance at the earlier state as non-government, usually very informal and mostly socially oriented, into even a microfinance industry right now, and the players are many, and because of that, it's already mentioned that there are many problems, and even the Zeller and Mayer said there are a triangle of microfinance between the outreach, because they still have the social objective to reach the poor, and then because they are become commercial, they also have to be financially sustainable, and they also still try to have welfare impact to the community, and this triangle is difficult to be achieved at the same time. Now this is the problem of microfinance in the world actually, and I'd like to discuss here about one type of microfinance institution, specifically genuine from Indonesia. We call it Baitul Mal wa Tamwil. Next please. Yeah. Baitul Mal wa Tamwil. Baitul Mal wa Tamwil is one institution, but actually they have two division. First division is Baitul Mal. Baitul Mal is like Baitul Mal in Islamic world. It collects social funds like zakat, infak, sedekah, wakaf, and then extend it to the person that are mentioned, certain people, mostly the fakir, miskin, and etc. And also the second one is Baitul Tamwil. Baitul Tamwil is just like micro financial institution that collect commercial fund and then extend it for the financing Islamically. These two division is not really dichotomized. Is it actually two in one? So in my opinion, this is the Baitul Mal, how they operate. Next please. And the other one, okay, I think it's before this. Yeah, this one. This is Baitul Tamwil. Baitul Mal is just like microfinance institution. Because in Islamic finance, actually there is no dichotomy between social oriented and commercial oriented. It's actually it is blended into one. So which one that has to be prioritized? It depends on the time, on the situation. Okay, now I'd like to propose the Baitul Mal to be not just a institution to do the finance inclusion, but a holistic finance inclusion. Next please. So this is the framework. Baitul Mal is the one that carry social inclusion. It has a social program, so many social program, and then development program using the social instruments, zakat, infak, sedekah, wakaf. And then on the right side is the Baitul Tamwil, carry the financial inclusion, because when you only talk about financial inclusion, mostly they targeted the poor, while the poor actually do not have money, do not have everything. So how can we include them into financial inclusion where they don't have nothing? So it has to be started from the social inclusion. And then also on the bottom left, that's the problem of the first problem of the microfinance, which is usually call it the double bottom line, because it has a social objective of outreach the poor, and then the commercial objective of financial sustainability. And on the right is the welfare. Next please. So this is the model in INP. I think I don't want to talk about this. Yeah, next please. So this is the result of our analysis, because everything has to be what do you call it? We have to also attach it to the Islamic objective. So this is the 5 objectives that has to be achieved by a finance institution, also this microfinance institution BMT. So and then the next here, but it's still in this on the right side, we see that we have 8 component of the holistic finance inclusion. That is social program, development program on the Baitul Mal side, financing program, and then Islamic microfinance services, outreach, sustainability, economic impact, and social impact. And from the analysis, it shows that the first most important is the financial sustainability still, because without financial sustainability, the BMT cannot be sustained for a longer time. And then the next is the economic impact, and then the social impact, and after that, financial inclusion, which is financing program and Islamic microfinance services, and then the development program and social program. But I'd like to mention that this is the overall result. The detailed result is in the next slide. And this is the detail of the result, where each component has or each aspect has 7 elements. For example, in the social program, what are the most important elements in the social program? It is the bailout of debt and basic need fulfillment, and so on and so on. And because each aspect has several elements, but when the BMT is growing and then developing from the small BMT into a bigger one, they have to be developed in stages. So that's why this is the minimum requirement. Next, please. This is the minimum requirement of the BMT that designed to be a holistic financial inclusion that carry the social inclusion and financial inclusion. First, in the social inclusion, it has to have in the social program basic need fulfillment and then bail out debt. Why? Because in Indonesia, because this is specific in Indonesia, mostly BMT established in a rural area where there is no institution, no financial institution, no microfinance institution, and there are so many loan sharks there. So people are, they really cannot nggak bisa keluar dari they cannot escape from this loan shark. So that's why the first that has to be done by the BMT, get them out from the loan shark. And then second, for the financial inclusion, simplicity of the financing program, and also the easy access, because usually they are reluctant to go, for example, to Islamic, for example, any institution, financial, if they have a big building, for example, they are afraid to come. So it has to be, building should be is familiar with them, small enough, and it's like a blend into their culture. Next, on the double bottom line. First, yes, they have to have more and more number of members, because this is the outreach that they want to achieve, and also the total deposits. Next, for the sustainability, yes, funding independence is very important. Why? Because almost all Islamic or non-Islamic microfinance institutions, they have problem in getting the funding because they are small. Nobody trusts them, and also there are no like campaign or socialization, like for example in Indonesia for banking, for example, ayo ke bank, let's go to bank. So the top of mind of people is, if they have money, go to bank, not go to BMT or go to koperasi. They don't have that top of mind. People, they don't really, not yet, trust the Islamic microfinance institution. because there's no campaign, no anything. And the government is, I think, government more. They put their energy more on the bigger financial institution like bank and everything. So this is very important, and also operational efficiency, because in the BMT or any other microfinance institution, the operational costs are very high. So sometimes one officer, they have to maintain like 200 customers, even up to 400 in Indonesia. And then next is the welfare impact. In the economic impact, first should be they have to achieve consumption smoothing and then income increase. And in the social impact, this is very important, mindset change, because their mindset is they feel like they are a poor people and they don't have anything, they are unempowered. So we have to change their mindset into people that are empowered. I can do something, and I have ability to change my condition, something like that. So next, so this is my recommendation. In Indonesia, BMT could be the most suitable Islamic microfinance institution that can carry out the holistic financial inclusion, which should comprise that I already mentioned before. And this BMT could overcome the problem of triangle of microfinance simultaneously, double bottom line, outreach and sustainability, and also the welfare impact. And there are so many problems that why government have not done as they have done to the, for example, to banking. So this is the challenge for Indonesia to accelerate and to promote the BMT so that they really can operate as it is. Because if you know in Indonesia right now, BMT have two choices. First, they can be cooperatives, meaning Islamic cooperatives. But if they are become a cooperative, then it's just simpan pinjam. So only funding and financing. But what about that's the function of Tamwil, Baitul Tamwil, but they cannot operate the Baitul Mal. And if they choose to be a lembaga keuangan mikro, meaning micro financial institution under FSA or OJK, it also have more regulation, and also the mal side is not really developed. So government only care about the Baitul Tamwil, not the Baitul Mal, because in Indonesia still there is a dichotomy between the social oriented organization and commercial oriented organization. So this actually the BMT is the genuine Islamic microfinance institution that actually operate as Islamic institution as it has to be, but it doesn't have the infrastructure, the legal structure that they really need to develop as it is. So that is all my presentation, and if you have question answer, please. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So just before we go into the second speaker, I just want to remind everyone at the end of both presentations we'll have a question and answer time. Please, just one question at the end. Think of one question you'd like to ask the speakers, and then we can move forward without too much delay. So on to Bapak Cecep, Maskanul Hakim.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for this very precious time, Professor Vincent. It's not good time for me since it is a busy time. When Brother Shafi Antonia asked me to replace him to speak in this, sometimes the feeling of nationalism, not to make your country ashamed for the Singaporeans, for Malaysians. And when I refused to become speaker, Mr. Mulya asked me to, please, you are the most representative to speak about this. Okay. Well, I'm already here, so I have given only 15 minutes to speak. So my paper is totally unacademic, since it is a personal experience and research, not research, refers to some regulations I wrote myself with our college in financial service authority, also by Indonesia. Sometimes Ascarya also was there. So the title is very good: Sharia Governance Islamic Financial Institution, between standard and application. What the meaning of standards means, we have in FSB standard 9, in which there are requirements for a country to have Sharia governance system, Islamic governance system, how product will be developed, who will be there, and what is the regulation should be there, what the institution should be provided. Me myself was member of this working group FSB in 2007-2009 with Mr. Ali Sakti, college of Mr. Dodi, Islamic University. Then we are from Indonesia, given sent to FSB to together with other. Now it's not inclusive the list. So
What's it on?
okay, it's okay. Background. Okay. So in December 2009, IFSB released standard IFSB 10, guiding principle on Sharia governance system. The funny thing that this standard is set and formulated by those countries who already applied Sharia governance system. So can you imagine that every country wants to be, his system will be put into the standard. Malaysia, Indonesia, Sudan. So that when these standards reapply to each country, then the difference happens. Sudan is similar to Malaysia. They have the Sharia high board in Bank Negara, while Indonesia doesn't have it. In Kuwait they don't have it. In Bahrain they don't have it. In Arab countries they have their own individual Sharia board. Then it was the time very, very heavy to determine how to regulate the Sharia board themselves. Why? Because they are more famous, more senior, more older. Sometimes those people who already want to already near to grave become Sharia board. How can we regulate them? So be very careful, and when it's coming to the Sharia board of IFSB itself, almost half of the standard is taken out, especially the ones who regulate themselves. So it's the inconsistency of the sometimes people, but this, if the interest is already, it's not inside the standard, they will take it out. So I'm not against them. So in country which Islamic banks operates, we should have Sharia standard in which there are people follow. Even though non-Muslim country operating Islamic banks, then the standard should be applied there. Okay, this is our background of the top of this standard. This is a story how Indonesia reapply with this standard. So it's a definition of standard Sharia governance system you can find in FSB website. So the basic thing is that the Sharia governance system is how issuance relevant Sharia pronouncement, fatwa, first. The process, the product. Sometimes it was happening in last time. If a bank do not have a fatwa what they want from these ulamas, then they we call it fatwa shopping. And then, no, it's real. It's a funny, but it's real happen. So then, dissemination information of this fatwa to all these officers. And then internal Sharia compliance. We didn't have time. We didn't have last time. But now we enforce people to have it inside the bank. Inside the, Islamic financial institution. Since OJK, I know many people do not know OJK. You know, our regulation, our act itself, it doesn't have this, translation. So if I say OJK means it is FSA, Financial Service Authority. Okay. Sometimes in Indonesia also we misspell OJK with ojek, right? Ojek, you know that taxi motor. And then an annual Sharia compliance review unit. It means it's different between the last two is that the internal is the audit team, while the second one, the last one, is the Sharia board itself who will make a review. Both has been done now, and the supervisor too in OJK who done this, who make evaluation for them, is me myself, singer without stop. Then if you want to know about Sharia standard, it has only 4 pillars: competency, independence, confidentiality, and consistency. Next. We have a problem now with the system is that 3 kind of industry with 3 different kind of regulation in Indonesia: banking, non-banking system, and capital market. The nature of supervision different, nature of regulation different, nature of reporting different, nature of licensing different. So then how you put Sharia governance system in that 3 kind of regulation? Different. One case is reported. In banking, Sharia Supervision Board can be Sharia board in 4 banks. Well, in insurance, they have only 1 and 1 other institution. Well, in capital market, no place at all, Sharia board. So how can we harmonize this in 1 institution? Still not settled. Capital market already formally refused to put Sharia board in the securities company if they want to sell a Sharia product, Islamic product. Then they will be given only Sharia expert of capital market. They call it ASPM, Ahli Sharia Pasar Modal. ASPM. Now they are in process of certification. So this is our problem. Then the stage begin with product development. They call it ex ante, before product is developed, how you do with the Sharia process. I think the most difficult process in product development in Islamic financial institution coming to Indonesia. In Malaysia, you just give to Bank Negara, and then Bank Negara discuss banking insurance. In Indonesia, no. You have to talk with Sharia board first. Sharia board then talk to the National Sharia Board. National Sharia Board report to Central Bank, FSA. And then they will return to discuss to each other. Very long process, sometimes taken into three years. Well, the business is already gone, and then we say that okay, it is allowed. We lost the market already. This is this is the reality. I'm the one involved in that process, and I cannot do anything. So many because of the prudentiality and sometimes also our ignorance about the product itself. So this is in 2008-2013, the process of product development. With the initiative of Deputy Governor, they put into together National Sharia Board, Bank Indonesia, and Indonesian Accounting Association. So they come into the discussion. After 3 months, they will release a statement, common statement, a recommendation that Bank Indonesia will have this regulation. National Sharia Board will issue a fatwa, and Accounting Association will issue also a standard on that. But because of FSA, then the scope is widened, involving a Ministry of Law, Ministry of Religious Affairs, come into and also the process become longer, sometimes 6 months, because and sometimes also the meeting they want to be another place. I hope they don't meet in Papua Island. Well, they are rebel there. Sometimes the demand also, how if we meet in Makkah or in Singapore, is high cost, Then so about the export is also starting just recently, where Sharia board should report to authority, Indonesia or FSA, and then they will be reviewed by officer in. It is the point where in FSB, very hot debate. Can we evaluate the performance of Sharia board? I said that as long as it is human product, then we have to evaluate. We evaluate God's product, then how can we do not evaluate the Sharia board? Even though they are senior, very high esteem, who will evaluate the work of Justice Taqi Rahman, Taqi Usmani? Who will evaluate Sheikh Nizam Yaqubi? I said, I do it. Because we are central bank, we have to evaluate the people inside the bank. So this is the mostly on psychological, not from regulatory perspective, psychological, sociological thing. One day we have report from a Sharia board that one Sharia board never attended the meeting, and is the highest position in the country, and he's become ministry now. Wow. I said, give the report, we will evaluate, and then coming the solution that this Sharia board should be replaced with other. Then he become angry. Talk to the governor. The governor says, man, Sheikh, this is working of small people. Why you want to become small people by working as a Sharia board? So, mostly on psychological, not regulation, not supervision, not anything. But it is interesting since it will involve something which is very serious. Reputational risk, you can see now. We have cases reported some people is become very famous in giving lectures, sermon, kiai, and everything. When they come to a Sharia, National Sharia Board, we interview, but they don't pass. How come? Yeah, they don't know anything about this. How can a sociologist will be tested at bank commissioner? They will not pass. So this is the reality. It's interesting, and this is reality. So our society have not really yet to accept this situation. They thought that the ulama mean that they know everything. But sometimes ulama, they know only ibadah, haji, zakat, puasa. So the next one will only evaluation of the how competency put into regulation, how dependence, and many cases I wrote there is with real case. Maybe the people not aware of this, but me as myself who knows about a Sharia related thing knows that it is a Sharia matter, not just financial, not just fraud, not just okay. The last one is my conclusion. Sometimes confidentiality. You know, confidentiality is having what we call it negative relationship with the transparency. We want to have Sharia board confidential, but at the same time we want them to be transparent in everything. So what inside the bank, between the contract, between the practice, they should report to the government, to authority. But at the same time, they should put this confidential. And sometimes what we are very, very afraid of is that it's one, and it's coming up in Sharia, FSB forum. One Sharia board very angry with the bank because his opinion is not taken into consideration. Then we'll speak to the most khutbah, Jum'ah sermon khutbah. That this bank is not Sharia, it's not Islamic, because it's in, how can we resist him to do so? Yeah, of course we have sanctioned. In that time, reputational risk started. People still start to think of it. Even though, until now, according to the experience, nothing happened with all these things. People in Indonesia always say that it's an Islamic, it's not Islamic. Nothing happened. But once it's come into a financial problem, yes, it happened. My conclusion is that adoption Sharia governance will reach common result for authorities. There is some difference. Sharia National Board in Malaysia is in central bank, while in Indonesia is independent body. In Sudan it is belong to government. In Middle East still not there, except the OIV and Majma' Fiqh Islam. The pillars of Sharia standards are incorporated in governance system in regulation already. So in Malaysia also already developed this since long time ago, in Sudan also. But the problem is that, like what Mr. Ascarya said, we have a cooperative, Islamic Financial Cooperative, BMT, Baitul Mal Tamu. The number is 2,000. Every cooperative has 2 Sharia board. It means 4,000. We have to certify them. We have to train them. It's taking time. Sometimes they said that we are in the village, so don't worry about Sharia. Our Sharia compliance is better than you. But sometimes they don't have solution. No problem lah, taking interest. Little lah, tak apa.
No problem if you take a little interest.
Easy. No, in the case of we know about the rural situation, but we implement standard. It means that there are some measures should be taken, some measures to be applied. If there is a problem, then we have to know what is it and know the solution. So the last one is that there should be research. We are in Islamic bank sometimes facing what we call it assumption. I myself call it assumption ghost. That it will be reputational risk. I myself through 15 years we already. There is what we call it. There is no what you call it too holy to fail. If you want to fail, fail. It's not too holy. You should be safe. No, it's not too holy to fail. If you want to fail, you fail. I myself who closed the rural bank, Islamic rural bank. In that time after that, I'm not in supervisor anymore. This ustad is very cruel. No, I just want to say that we have to be consistent. We have to be disciplined. No, it is a Sharia who teach us to. There is what you call it assumption, positive relationship between Sharia governance and reputational risk. The second is I don't put here. There is an assumption developed in the society that once you are strict to Sharia, you do not develop. You know what I mean? Yeah, it means that it doesn't develop because you are too strict to Sharia, not like in Malaysia, which is very lenient, loosey. I don't know what you would say. Yeah, it is assumption growing into gossip, growing into. So in this forum, we have academics. We have to prove it into a certain research. They prove it that it's just only a percentage relation. It is true percentage of this percent. This percent is not true. This is what I said. This is what I can. Sorry, Mr. Clement, don't have time to write a paper. So I hope I can write this, become a paper in journal. And I return. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.